Good afternoon, everybody. I am Natasja Braem. I'm a teacher at the Karel De Grote University College in Antwerp. And I'm teaching already 10 years at KDG. I'm a passionate lecturer and especially a business coach. So I'm actually coaching second year and third year students in working out a business challenge. Next to teaching, I'm organizing as well with my partner Bert and two other colleagues yearly study trips to the States. One to Miami and one to San Francisco. So actually my goal is really to let students grow, let students have really inspiring adventures. So KDG is a university college of applied sciences. So actually we are focusing on professional bachelors. What does that mean? Professional bachelors. We are really focused on, we are giving the students a lot of knowledge, but they need to apply the knowledge immediately into practice. Either cases or authentic projects of the working field. So I'm focusing within the business department on the SME management, small and medium-sized enterprises, on international business students and on IT students. Why do I love my job and why is education really, really important? Is that we need to reinforce actually our local anchoring. We need to provide strong education to our locals. So when they graduate, they really have an added value to our local economy, to the Belgium employment. So reinforcement of our strong SMEs in Belgium is really, really important nowadays. And of course, we can never forget that we do that within the context of the 3 pillars of sustainability. 3 pillars of sustainability, meaning, of course, financially, ecologically, but as well socially. Yeah, we can never forget that. Let me start with giving you some really accurate numbers, the challenges that we are heading. This is one of the numbers that I've read in the job report of the World Economic Forum. And yes, indeed, you read this well, 39% of the core skills of our workers will change by 2030. So we all, society, but education has a big, big challenge. What are actually the core skills nowadays in 2025? Number 1 is analytical thinking. And within the top 5 we have analytical thinking and creative thinking. Okay, keep that in mind. But next to these cognitive skills, we need to be really resilient, agile, and be self-aware. We are responsible of building our own story. Yeah. If we look into the future, and actually already the nearby future, you will see here now the top 10 of the fastest growing skills. And you see that the top 5 changed really a lot. And okay, it's not a surprise, but number 1 is actually AI and big data, networks. Number 3, technological literacy. So you see that analytical thinking and creative thinking went down. But what is really important, that we educate our students with critical thinking, because they need to have the critical thinking to deal with AI. Besides the critical thinking, it's important as well that they are resilient, that they build on their agility, that they are flexible to deal with all those technological and digital challenges in 2030. Some other numbers, think about that 39% of the skills will change. This will need that all the people, not only our students, but we as well, that what is stated here, that 41% will need to upskill. Yeah, we as well. 41% will need to upskill by 2030. And 29% will do that upskilling within their own profession. So yes, of course, we all, not only our students, we need to be agile, we need to be really, really flexible. So if we think about these numbers, we really need to think about, okay, what skills, what competences, what kind of knowledge will we give to our students nowadays? Because it's really important for us as professional bachelor teachers that the threshold by going into the professional working field is really, really low, that they can really start immediately in their profession. So the essential skills for education 2.0 is, I mentioned this already, is critical thinking, of course, creative thinking, personal leadership, lifelong learning. We all need to be motivated in really learning for the whole of our lives. Technological literacy, of course, and being able to communicate and listen to each other, right? Co-creation, working in team. Really, really important, multidisciplinary as well. We need each other. Okay, this is one part of the reality founded by data. Another part, I'm a teacher at the SME program, and every year in the beginning of the academic year we ask our first year students, do you want to start your own company? And this is data from the beginning of the week from my colleague, and they say, yeah, 60% of our first year students really want to start up their own company. That gives me a lot of hope, because our 18-year-old students, they are hopeful, they are really positive, and they are ambitious. Yeah? So we need to provide them with all the tools to be able to grow and to succeed. If you look at the numbers of last year and the year before, you see that number is stable, 60%. But we have a challenge. If we look at our graduates, only 10% of our graduates graduate with their own company. And we have a lot of facilities at KDG in Antwerp. We have an entrepreneurial center, so we have a real strong curriculum as well, but only 10% graduates with their own company. So we have a gap. We have a gap to transforming them, empowering them, or keeping the spark alive. So that is actually our challenge within SME Management. Okay, so now the actual question is, and I'm looking at the audience as well, how do we prepare our young entrepreneurs for the future? That is something we think about every single day. So today I would like to share with you what the vision is of SME Management at KDG. How do we teach our entrepreneurial students? How do we prepare them for the future? So I will share some best practices and some challenges we face. And of course, we need to do this together. So I would love to have some tips and tricks how you inspire our young professionals in your daily lives. Okay, this is actually, and I hope you can read it, these are our end goals. This is actually what we love that our SME students are able to do. They need to think and act entrepreneurially. So that is the goal after 3 years. What else? They need to create sustainable value, either socially or ecologically. So they need to have an impact, a sustainable impact. 3, they need to combine leadership, their self-awareness, with co-creation, with doing this together. And 4th, they need to respond to an ever-changing way in a resilient and innovative way. So these are our 4 end goals with our SME students. With, of course, a maximum impact. How do we do that? How did we design our sustainable entrepreneurial curriculum? You see, there is really an evolution, of course, in the curriculum. And in the first year, first semester, we start with the course Business Modeling and Ideation. There is like a startup mindset. Students really need to develop their own idea. They need to come up with their own idea, and of course, they need to test the desirability. Yeah? Then, if we move to step 2, still first year, second semester, then they need to write already their first business plan. So in the first year, they need to write their first business plan, financially and marketing. This is in a simulated environment, yeah? If we go to year 2, there we have a really strong course, and that's named Sustainable Business Projects. What does that mean? So we look for challenges, opportunities really in our SMEs, and we give those challenges to our students. So our students really work in an authentic environment with ups and downs. Yeah. And at the end, they write down a well-found business plan. I'm going to zoom in on this part of our curriculum later. If we go further, then it's the end flag. It's for the graduation. Our third-year student, they need to find their own project. They need to find their own project within the SME working field, and they need to look for a specific field. Maybe they are fond of HR, maybe they are fond of logistics, supply chain, etc. They look for their own project and they work within the company, but not as a stagiaire, but they work out a really strategic project. So, of course, you see what is important. There is a growing authenticity in our curriculum. And of course, less and less guidance. That's important here. We, in KDG, and as well within SME Management, we put the bar high. The expectations are really high. That's important, and as I was mentioning, we don't do that only on our own as teachers. We do that together with the business, with the companies. So we do that in co-creation. That means that we push our students outside. They need to look for feedback. They need to be feedback seekers. Yeah? They really need to build their own network. Really, really important. What else? It's not that they need to look for feedback, but we feel that sometimes our Belgian students are introverts and they are a little bit shy. No, we say, come on, stand up. You need to be self-confident within the safe environment. So that's really, really important as well. What else? As I mentioned before, I will zoom in on the Sustainable Business Project of our second year. That's actually a teamwork. So we will give real, authentic project to our students. And at the end of the year, after the analysis and the strategic phase, they need to build a fully sustainable business plan. The sustainability pillars, they keep the same, right? They are the same. What about the authentic learning? Because it's complex, finding the projects, finding the coaches that feel confident to really following the waves of a certain project, because each project is different, each mentor is different, each industry is different. So you really need to dare to step up that train. But it's so important to make sure that our students become those agile, resilient, flexible students that draw their own course. So realistic contexts with complex tasks, with a coach as their most critical friend. That's important. Crossing boundaries, learning outside the campus, yeah? Interdisciplinary, co-creative, and connect. Share knowledge with peers, with teachers, but as well with business professionals. So that's important. What is our educational approach here? That in the first year, we really cut everything into pieces, and we really hold the hands of our students. Second year, no, we say no, we turn it around. Dear students, you are in charge of your own learning curve, right? You need to be proactive. And there are a lot of challenges, and they need to work together. Not only the business plan, so the hard skills are important, but more and more the soft skills are really important. I was mentioning before that they need to be a feedback seeker. They need to be able to give feedback, but to deal with feedback as well. So that's one of our learning goals. The teacher is the coach and the most critical friend, as I said. But besides that, of course, we give them a lot of knowledge, a lot of expertise. But that will not be enough in this ever-changing world. So we push them to read other courses, to go to other seminars, etc. So they are responsible for their own intellectual jump. So to wrap it up, what is the goal of this course? Personal growth is really, really important. Step towards self-reliance, team growth, and especially stimulating the entrepreneurial spirit and sustainability awareness. That's important. What are the learning objectives of this course? I think we have 16 learning goals. I'm not going to sum them up, but it's a combination of teamwork, individual work, hard skills, and soft skills. A lot of them I mentioned already before. What is actually strong in our program is that, okay, they need to be creative and innovative, but every solution, it needs to be backed up by data. And okay, they can use ChatGPT as one of their sources, but they need to combine a lot of sources, books, interviews, podcasts, and so on. So all scenarios or all advices that they give need to be backed up by data. And that's why our entrepreneurial students are really, really strong. What else is interesting to tell you? We apply now holistic evaluation. And I know that a lot of colleagues are a bit afraid of holistic evaluation, but they need to achieve every learning goal. It's not that the soft skills are less or more important than the hard skills. No, they need to be strong on every skill. Okay, but there are a lot of challenges. Because this year, for example, we are starting up 18 teams. So we need to find 18 partners in the working field. That's not so easy, that's really intensive, right? And what else? Sometimes after analysis, our student says, "Oei, this company is an empty box. Actually, the company needs to stop." That's quite difficult to tell, and sometimes that's necessary. That's real life as well. Let's say they give that advice, dear company, you need to stop. That's the advice that we give. But then they couldn't achieve the creative goal. Then we find other projects or other cases so they really can show us to achieve that creative goal. That's authentic learning as well. And sometimes, especially in IT software companies, that the companies go faster than our students can follow. That's really then it's like that they need to try to swim or they drown. But okay, you always have coaches along the way. This is just an overview how we have organized this course. I think it's with 10-15 colleagues that we have designed this course. So you see here down, you have a lot of knowledge, expertise, finance, marketing, marketing research, and so on. And above you see the business skills. What are the business skills that we are teaching them? Of course, teamwork, project management, giving feedback, planning, design thinking, creativity, and so on. But what is important is, of course, that there is intensive coaching. We see our teams every single week. Yeah. The attitude of the coach, I mentioned that before, needs to be, it's okay that I'm not an expert on every topic. Yeah, we are not walking computers. And what I like to do is co-coach with other colleagues that have maybe another expertise. And it's okay to show as a teacher, as a coach, as well your vulnerability. That's important as well. So to end with, it's like we need each other, we need the companies to let our entrepreneurial students grow, and Odoo is one of our partners that really help us, support us in growing our entrepreneurial students. Last year we celebrated our 20th anniversary actually, and we organized a KMO festival, a big network event with all our students and our partners, and actually Odoo was one of our biggest partners in this. So as well, partners, companies support the growing of our students. Thank you for listening all. Please share your thoughts. You can find me at LinkedIn via the QR code. You can talk to me later on. And thank you very much all for listening.